The external female genitalia are located posterior to the mount pubis, which is rounded, fleshy prominence located over the pubic symphysis. These structures are known collectively as the vulva or the pupidum. The vulva consists of labia, clitoris, Bartholin glands, and vaginal orifice. The labia majora and the labia minora are the vaginal leaves that protect the other external genitalia and the uterine meatus. The uterine meatus is the external opening of the utera. The clitoris is the organ of sensitive erectile tissue located interior to the uterine meatus and the vaginal orifice. Bartholin glands produce a mucus secretion to lubricate the vagina. These two small round glands are located on either side of the vaginal orifice. The vaginal orifice is the exterior opening of the vagina. The hymen is a thin mucous membrane that partially covers this opening and can be torn either during the first instance of intercourse or other activity.
The internal female genitalia are located within the pelvic cavity where they are protected by the bony pelvis. These structures include two ovaries, two fallopian tubes, the uterus, and the vagina. The primary female reproductive organs are the two ovaries. Each ovary is a solid ovoid structure about the size and shape of an almond, about 3.5 cm in length, 2 cm wide, and 1 cm thick. The ovaries are located in shallow depressions called ovarian fossae, one on each side of the uterus in the lateral walls of the pelvic cavity. They are held loosely in place by the peritoneal ligaments. The ovaries have two main functions. Firstly, to produce oocytes, the female gametes in preparation for fertilization. Secondly, to produce the sex steroid hormones, estrogen and progesterone in response to pituitary gonadotrophins. A follicle is a fluid-filled sac containing a single ovum. There are thousands of these sacs on the inside surface of the ovaries. The ova, also known as eggs, are the female gametes. These immature ova are present at birth. Normally, after puberty, one ovum matures and is released each month. The ovary has three main histological features. Firstly, the surface, formed by simple cuboidal epithelium known as germinal epithelium. Underlying this layer is a dense connective tissue capsule. Secondly, cortex, comprised of a connective tissue stroma and numerous ovarian follicles. Each follicle contains an oocyte surrounded by a single layer of follicular cells. Thirdly, medulla, formed by loose connective tissue and a rich neurovascular network which enters via the hilum of the ovary. The ovaries play a critical role in menstruation and conception. They produce eggs for fertilization and they make the hormones estrogen and progesterone. An ovary releases an egg around the middle of your menstrual cycle, which is around day 14 of a 28-day cycle in a process called ovulation. Each of the ovaries has thousands of ovarian follicles. Each month, between day 16 and 14 of the menstrual cycle, follicle-stimulating hormone, FSH, causes follicles in one of the ovaries to mature. At about day 14 in the menstrual cycle, a sudden surge in the luteinizing hormone, LH, causes the ovary to release an egg. The egg begins its travel through a narrow, hollow structure called the fallopian tube to the uterus. As the egg travels through the fallopian tube, the level of progesterone rises, which helps prepare the uterine lining for pregnancy. If pregnancy didn't occur in that cycle, the egg disintegrates and gets reabsorbed by your body so menstruation can begin.
Hi, Assalamualaikum. My name is ATIKAH and I will talk about anatomy of internal female genitalia. Other than ovaries, the anatomy of internal female genitalia also include two fallopian tubes, the uterus, and the vagina, which I will be discussed in this presentation. There are two fallopian tubes, which are also known as uterine tubes. These tubes extend from the upper end of the uterus to a point near but not attached to an ovary. The two figures show fallopian tubes with and without cross-section part. The fallopian tubes consist of two structures, which is infundibulum and fimbriae. The infundibulum is the funnel-shaped opening into the fallopian tube near the ovary, while the fimbriae are the finger-like extensions of this opening. Their role is to catch the mature ovum when it leaves the ovary. Each month, one of these tubes carries a mature ovum from the ovary to the uterus. These tubes also carry sperm upward from the uterus toward the descending mature ovum so that fertilization can occur. The uterus, also known as womb, is a pear-shaped organ with muscular walls and a mucous membrane lining filled with a rich supply of blood vessels. The uterus is located between the urinary bladder and the rectum and midway between the sacrum and the pubic bone. In its normal position, which is known as anteflexion, the body of the uterus is bent forward. The figures shows where uterus is located and its position in a lateral cross-section. The body of the uterus consists of three major anatomic areas. First is the fundus, is the bulging, rounded part above the entrance of the fallopian tubes. The role is to help determine the baby's growth by measuring the fundal height in relation to the pubic bone, since the fundus itself rises during pregnancy. The second major part of uterus body is the corpus. The corpus, also known as the body of the uterus. It is the middle portion of the uterus. Lastly, the cervix, also known as the cervix uteri, is the lower narrow portion that extends into the vagina. Within the cervix is the cervical canal, which ends at the cervical os at the vagina. The uterus is composed of three major layers of tissue, which the perimetrium, the myometrium, and the endometrium. The perimetrium is the tough, membranous outer layer of the uterus tissue. Membranous in here means pertaining to a thin layer of tissue. The myometrium is the muscular middle layer, and the endometrium is the inner layer, and it consists of specialized epithelial mucosa that is rich in blood. Mucosa means referring to the mucous membrane.
Next, the vagina. The vagina is a muscular tube lining with the mucosa that extend from the cervix, which is the lower part of the uterus, to the outside of the body. This structure plays a very crucial role in the female reproductive system, which as the protective lining, the mucosal lining of the vagina produces a fluid to help maintain a healthy environment. This secretion contributes to lubrication, protect against infection, and maintain an acidic pH which inhibit the growth of the harmful bacteria. Other than that, it also have a multiply rules, which it act as the birth canal during childbirth, a passageway for the menstrual flow, and receptacle for sperm during intercourse, which is a critical for reproduction. Menstruation, also referred to as a menses, is the periodic discharge of the uterine lining, or also known as the endometrium and the unfertilized ovum. This process is a fundamental component of the menstrual cycle, which prepares the female reproductive system for potential pregnancy for each month. On average, the menstrual cycle lasts for 28 days, although the variations are common and can range from 21 to 35 days. The menstrual cycle is divided into the four distinct phases, each with a specific biological function. Number 1. The menstrual phase. Day 1 to 5. This time is characterized by the shedding of the endometrial lining, which exits the body through the vagina as the menstrual flow. It marks the beginning of the cycle and serves as a physiological reset for the reproductive system. Second, the postmenstrual phase, day 6 to 12. During this time, the body prepares for the potential pregnancy. The pituitary gland secretes follicle-stimulating hormone, or known as FSH, which stimulate the maturation of ovum in one of the ovaries. In the same time, the hormone estrogen stimulates the thickening of the uterine lining and creating an environment conducive to implantation should the fertilization occur. Next, the ovulatory phase, day 30 to 40. This time is represent the peak of the fertility. A major ovum is released from the ovary, a process also known as the ovulation, and it begins its journey down the fallopian tube towards the uterus. If fertilization occurs during this time, pregnancy can result. And last but not least, the premenstrual phase, day 15 to 28. If the fertilization doesn't not take place, level of estrogen and progesterone decline. This hormonal change causes the uterine lining to break down, signaling the beginning of the new menstrual cycle. This time is often associated with the premenstrual symptoms such as mood changes, bloating, and breast discomfort. In addition to this phase, it is important to acknowledge the other two significant milestones in the menstrual life cycle, which is menarche. This refers to the first occurrence of the menstruation, typically around the age of 12. It signifies the onset of the reproductive maturity. Second, menopause. This is a permanent cessation of menstruation, which usually occurs around the age of 51. Menopause is considered confirmed after 12 consecutive months without a menstrual period. Between these two, we also know as the perimenopause, a transitional phase lasting for several years. During this time, the hormonal change can result in the symptoms such as irregular period, hot flashes, and mood disturbance.
So now I'm going to talk about the anatomy and functions of the breast. Breasts are made up of fat, connective tissue, and the mammary glands. Each breast is fixed to the overlying skin and the underlying pectoral, or chest, muscles by suspensory ligaments. The mammary glands, or known as lactiferous glands, are specialized organs responsible for producing milk. These glands activate primarily during lactation, ensuring the production of nutrient-rich milk essential for nurturing infants. Once milk is produced, it travels through the lactiferous ducts, or known as milk ducts. These ducts act as passageway carrying milk from the glands to the nipple, ready for feeding. Now, let's discuss the areola, the dark pigmented area surrounding the nipple. It plays a crucial role in breastfeeding. The milk flows from the ducts through the nipple, the external structure that facilitates milk transfer to the baby. Inside of the breast, we have lobules, small glandular units responsible for milk production. These lobules are like tiny factories working together to ensure a consistent milk supply. It's also providing structural support to dysfunctional parts is the fatty tissue, also known as adipose tissue. This tissue not only gives the breast its shape and volume but also cushions and supports the glandular components, ensuring efficiency functionally. That's all from us. Thank you.